What is the worst part of your game? I posted that question on Facebook and got some really good comments. The best one I thought, and there's not a win, it's not the best one, but the one that made me most intrigued, that I feel that everybody is plagued, even from the beginner to the pro, is inconsistency. That was Mike Cranes. Sorry if I think I said it right the first time, but he's the one that posted that. We had a good chat over about it over on Facebook about his game, and I thought it was a little bit easier for me just to make this video because it's kind of a little bit long and drawn out, so I'm going to try not to make it too long and drawn out. Again, it's Brent. Get back to golf, and I'm here to see if I can help some more people of all the successes and failures I've had in golf. And again, I've always learned more from failing. Unfortunately, I've failed a lot and I've learned a lot. But inconsistency is, even pros, they can't win every week. It's just almost impossible. And for yourself to beat yourself up over, I almost just got T-boned. To beat yourself over shooting like an 80 one day and then a 90 the next. Again, a lot of people would be happy with that. I would not be. I do it too. One day I can shoot on par, and the next day I can shoot 10 over par. And it's just some days, especially when you get older, it just gets harder and harder to be consistent. I know it's kind of redundant, but think about all the things that go into a golf swing. I swear most of it's mental, because the number one thing is the mental game. Because I've seen people hit awesome at the driving range. They're striping driver, they're drawing it, they're fading it, they're hooking it around the bends, they're doing whatever they can, whatever they want with the thing. They're making the ball their bitch. It's amazing. Then they get to the course and they're hitting grounders. So that is 100% mental. You cannot just go from being a decent athlete to all of a sudden being a complete train wreck. That's the biggest thing. Give me my Jeep Wave. So most of the time you gotta go in at every single round like it's a new day, a new round. You can't go by what you shot 2 weeks ago or what you shot. I go in. I have about 3 tweaks to my swing, and this is something you probably want to work on, because if something's not working, you got to change it quickly. You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. That's the definition of insanity. But yeah, it's definitely a mental game. Mike also asked me, I seem so relaxed, myself, when I'm swinging. So that was one thing I actually learned. I think it was from a book, and I always done it before. I used to do it when I used to do pretty decent pitcher back in the day, and a coach always used to tell me, take a deep breath before you throw the ball. And I never really understood why, because he never gave me an explanation. And I'll tell you why this is an explanation. And I know it's going to sound like really weird and a little off the wall, more off the wall than I usually am, because I'm not that kooky crazy. But I do believe in this one. When you take a deep breath, it actually tells your brain and your body everything's okay, and you will actually relax. When people tense up, they actually find themselves breathing less. I know it sounds crazy, but believe me, this one helps me. And that's why if you even hear my videos, I sound like an asthmatic taking a deep breath, wheezing and coughing and whatever. And I just took a deep breath there, and it's loud. I just could be the big schnoz going down a giant tunnel. Trust me on that one. When you go up to hit a driver and everybody says, Brian, you have such a nice loose swing, I try to take the deepest breath, and all I try to think about is being as loose as possible and my imaginary target in the back of my head. I know I have been teasing you with that video from Nick where I was pretty much almost 100% caddying for him that day. I actually
That
was,
boy.
and he beat me, and he was completely shocked. And the best round of his life, he went out the next week and said he shot the worst round in his life. And he says, well, it's because you weren't there. No, it's because he was expecting to shoot even better. You can't. It's just not that game. It's probably, people say baseball is the hardest game because it's a Jeep Wave. Oh, no, back-to-back Jeep Waves. This is the worst road, by the way, too. So, another Jeep Wave. They actually wave back. It is upsetting sometimes when nobody waves back. But yeah, so you gotta go in every day, not with low expectations. You have to go in with confidence. You have to go in knowing, hey, I'm a good golfer. I believe in myself. I mean, you just don't have to say it out loud. Because then they're gonna think you're a little weird and you force them. And just think to yourself that just keep it simple. Just pick imaginary target out there, get back down to the club, fire that club towards that imaginary target. I know it sounds weird. If you ever played any of those old PlayStation 2 games with Tiger Woods, where they had kind of like these imaginary things, go play it again, because I'm telling you, it will really help your game, especially reading greens and whatnot. And how, another one is, that's another video I'm going to make, how to make the actual green, how to make the hole actually bigger. I know it, not literally physically going in and digging the hole bigger. I mean, so you can play the percentages and actually make more putts within 10 to 20 feet, because those are the ones you got to make. You're going to score well when you putt about consistently 10 footers. So another Jeep Wave. So what the heck, put a Jeep Wave counter at the bottom. So yeah, and another thing about inconsistency, it also works a lot with who you actually play with. If you have someone that you play with constantly, which Mike says he does, and he plays really well at his home course, and then when he goes away with the same guy and they don't play so well on the other course, I'm telling you, it's most of the time is about focus. What I do is, if I'm playing a course, I know you guys think I'm nuts. I actually will go online, or if I have an old scorecard, and I'll actually mark up the scorecard if they have like the holes. You can literally put the dots in the holes and whatnot, and kind of try to pencil in what clubs I'm going to hit, so I don't have to think. I just sit there and go, okay, this one's, I don't need a driver, I need a 3-wood in a fairway, 230 out, and then I can hit my 8-iron, 2-putt par, get off the course. If I drop it for birdie, big deal. If I hit a bad shot, then I'm playing for bogey. You have to kind of think that way. If you hit a bad shot, to recover, even at the amateur level, we're not Phil Mickelson. He's probably the best person other than Seve Ballesteros back in the day to recover from shots. And that's because they had to a lot, because they swung literally out of their pants to hit the ball long, because they figured, well, you know what, if I can hit it past everybody, I can just get like a wedge in, while everybody else is hitting 5-iron into the green. So not to make this a complete epic story here, but my point is that a lot of people will play better golf when they're playing alone. I know it's not because they're cheating. It's not because they're taking extra shots that they're not counting. It's because it's just you, and you're completely focused on nothing else but golf. How many times does this work? You're playing great round, you're out there by yourself, and you get a phone call. It's your boss. It's your wife. You have to do work. You have to wire what time you're coming home. And then all of a sudden, you hang up the phone and your golf game goes to complete shit. So, how many times? Hello, happens all the time. And that's when you have to really work hard. The only time I ever won tournaments, and I didn't realize I had all the athletic ability, could do all these cool shots, do trick shots, hook, drive, slice, but didn't have the cabeza, the mental game. And when you lose focus, there's a great book by Arnold Palmer, A Life Well Played, and he talks about how he had to learn how to be personable and still keep focus. He had one time where he learned, this guy came up to him, started talking to him, and he lost. He blew 3 straight bogeys and lost, like a U.S. Open. Ugh. So, you know, and that's the time you just don't want to have that. But anyway, guys, I hope this helps. If you have any other questions, I'm going to do this more often, because I really feel whatever I have going on in this head of mine needs to come out. And if I can share with you guys just a little bit of advice, and I gave that one to Nick, and he shot lights out. And he's a great athlete. His swing is just okay, you know, but as long as you're hitting it in the impact zone and you're being consistent, you can be a pretty damn good golfer, or at least enjoy it more. But don't ever beat yourself up about inconsistency. I mean, even, you know, Justin Thomas. I mean, he's Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy. I mean, these guys were the top golfers last year, and they didn't win a lot. They didn't win every week. They didn't play every round great. Oh, Jeep wave. So you just gotta look and play within yourself, and don't beat yourself up so much either. When you go in, par 4, play for par. Par 3s, you play for par. Par 5s, you try to play for birdie. Unless they're like 600 yards, then just play for par. So I hope that helps. Hitting my truck route, and I don't know what we tally up, 5 Jeep waves. It's pretty good. So anyway, guys, subscribe. It's gonna be more like this. I think, again, this is gonna help a lot of people, and it's also gonna help a lot of people relate. So make sure you comment below if you got any questions. And I'll try to get to everybody's answers as soon as possible. Subscribe, all that stuff. Peace.
Oh, baby.